Hello, good morning, and welcome along to another episode of Euros Daily. It is day 18 of Euro 2020, and we just have two games left of the last 16. It's 9 a.m. on Tuesday, the 29th of June. I'm Joe Carter, and I'll be your guide throughout this pan-European footballing party. An absolute mountain of analysis to get through today. The two best games of the tournament so far happened yesterday, with Spain beating Croatia 5-3 in extra time and Switzerland knocking out favourite France on pens after a thrilling 3-3 draw. And as if that wasn't enough, it's only England-Germany at Wembley today. Oh, Roz, the memories. England-Germany, Wembley. Oh, we need to banish some demons today. Sweden-Ukraine. Wow. Just wow. Strap yourselves in, mate. Strap yourself in, Roz. It's going to be a long one, I think, this morning. We'll do our regular Man of the Match Day and Dick of the Day awards. Roz is going to have his stat of the day as well. All that to come here on Euros Daily. Comment, like, subscribe, allow notifications, and share this video. Alongside me this morning on the pod, we have our old war horse of a captain. He's like Chiellini, but with hair. It is, of course, Roz Mack. He tackles like Chiellini as well. How you doing, Roz?
That's very true. Left-footed as well. Yeah, I'm alright. I went out last night. Did I miss much? Anything happen?
How does it feel to have your tackle compared to that of Giorgio Chiellini's?
Not even 9:15 yet. It's amazing, mate. Yeah. I mean, I sort of joked that I missed it. I did miss the first half because ITV Hub was having an absolute shocker. Twitter was going berserk. I missed pretty much the whole of the first half. But that's fine.
Of the France game?
France, Switzerland, yeah. But luckily got all of the second half. And I have to say, probably one of the best games I've ever seen. Ever.
I mean, it was... They're calling it Magic Monday. I mean, I'm sure there's a better word we can think of. If you've got any suggestions, get in the comments of what we could call it instead of Magic Monday. It has to be alliterative, though. So, like, I don't know, like Mystical Monday.
Magic Monday, surely a pun on Manic Monday, and Manic Monday would have worked fine as well.
Yeah, Manic
Monday. Not like they've sort of cleverly changed a well-known...
Yeah. Anyway,
fine.
240 minutes of football, 14 goals. The favourites knocked out on penalties. There were injuries. There were like howlers. There were disgusting fouls. Everything from a day of football. And do you know what I said on yesterday's pod just before the game? Just before the Spain-Croatia game, I said, this is the tournament that just keeps on giving. I also called extra time in the Spain-Croatia game. And not to blow my own trumpet, and I said the France-Switzerland game will be close when you told me it'd be a cricket score and it'd be 5-0.
I think what I said was that Mill stand more chance of winning the Euros than Switzerland winning that game. Yeah.
So you off down to the bookies after this to
age 12,
stick a tenner on Millwall winning the Euros, an impossible feat. Okay. Right then, let's crack on. We've got some comments in the stream. It'll be a great game today. Will says, I think 2-1 England. Who's going to be the man of the match, Will? Who's going to score those 2 goals for us? And interesting that you think... Sorry, just going it again. Kane will drink an energy drink and score. Brilliant.
They're not going to be related.
I think he needs more than an energy drink to get a goal. But I want to know who's going to score those goals, Will, and who your man of the match is. And interesting that you say England will concede a goal because we're the only team at the tournament to not have done that yet.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that also, talking of, I mean, you've been trying to knock Harry Kane there, just getting all the Spurs tickets you can. Do you remember that moment yesterday after all the world-class goals where Sissoko forgot that he played for Spurs? So all these absolute like worldies of goals, and then he sort of tries to take a volley in it. I think Clive Tilsley was just like, and that is still going out of the stand.
Yeah, still going out of the stand. Yeah,
less said about that.
That ball needs a ticket to get back in, right? So maybe we should add some structure to the show and start talking about these games in order. So let's start with Croatia against Spain. From Parken Stadium, Copenhagen. And as if this stadium hasn't seen enough drama from obviously Christian Eriksen's collapse in match day 1, to De Bruyne coming on and tearing Denmark apart to turn it around from 1-0 down to 2-1, and then their 4-1 victory over Russia. Now this ridiculous game where a freak own goal started things off, didn't it? Pedri, of all people. I mean, Pedri and Unai Simon, between them, you feel for them a bit because Pedri's a very young player, and that would have really like put a dampener on his career had Spain not got through from that. Same with Unai Simon, filling big boots, in the Spain goal. Bizarre own goal, Ros.
Yeah, and it's funny. I mean, the place I found most sympathy for it was actually in my sort of five-side group chats, where pretty much every goalkeeper, there were some fairly decent goalkeepers in the group I play in, and saying everyone's done it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of like every goalkeeper, you just take your eye off the ball. I don't think it was that bad a back pass from Pedri. I think what was interesting is that I thought Pedri went on to have a very good game.
Yeah.
He's just having a wonderful tournament for his age. Incredible. And I actually thought that Simon made some stunning saves as well. Really sort of, they can put a lot of them getting through on him. So, yeah, I mean, it was a stupid error, but luckily for Spain, they're not going to be looking back.
It was a back pass from kind of almost the halfway line. It was almost Schick versus Scotland distance, wasn't it? It was that far away. Sorry, Ros, I don't mean to drag that up. But just for comparison, for anyone who didn't see it, and kind of it's quite a hard pass, but that's Spain, that's the way they play. And Simon is like thinking of the next pass or something, it just slips under his foot, goes in the goal. Anyway, after that, Spain do kind of recover. Sarabia scores, Azpilicueta scores, and Ferran Torres scores in the 77th minute. You're thinking, right, Spain are done now, 3-1 up. And then Croatia, the old, I called you a warhorse in the intro to this, but my wife was asking me last night, I mean, is it over now? When Spain went 3-1 up, and I was like, no, like Croatia are like an old warhorse. They just keep going. They won't stop until the battle is over. And they did that. I mean, and they lasted until, before extra time. They got those 2 goals, didn't they, Ros?
Yeah, and it's the kind of thing where if you get the second, you're more than likely to get the third. It's weird the way it works like that, but the other team gets a bit nervy. I think the whole game, to be honest, I mean, Emma Hayes was saying best game of the tournament so far. It was the most entertaining at that point game of the tournament so far, but it was an absolute masterclass in how to defend poorly. Like, I'm not going to say I'd rather watch a boring 0-0 where no one makes any mistakes.
I mean, you have said that before.
It's just like, the Spanish, they kind of forgot how to defend, particularly after extra time. They managed to equalise, take it to extra time. Spain got a couple more goals, and the defending for those 2 goals, or was it 3? No, it was 2.
2, yeah.
The defending for those goals was it's the Oyarzabal one, and it was before that the Alvaro Morata.
Yeah, which we'll come on to.
Yeah, but just I mean, I'll just quickly get my dick of the day in. And it's...
that sounds so wrong.
A little bit. Not as wrong as Chiellini's tackle, but...
Sorry, can you just clarify that? I think I spoke over you and we didn't hear your dick of the day.
It was... it's veteran Chorluka. Because I did some digging.
Right.
And I looked up the Croatian coaching team. Or the coaching staff. And the manager's got 3 assistants, and the only one out of the 4 of them that is a defender is veteran Chorluka. I think Olic is the other one, the guy that used to play for Bayern Munich.
Ivica Olic, yeah.
Yeah. So as the only defender on that coaching team, what's he doing with them in the week? Because that was it's just horrible to watch.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it goes to extra time. It's 3-3, goes to extra time. Pasalic with that goal that sends it to extra time in the stoppage time of normal time, and then 10 minutes into extra time, Alvaro Morata scored a goal that he needed so much. Scored a goal that silenced the critics, hopefully for him. Scored a goal that It's kind of the winner, really, wasn't it? Let's be honest. It put Croatia on their backsides.
I agree with that. It's a stunning goal, stunning finish. And obviously, whilst I don't condone any muppet who decides that missing a few chances in a football match is, worthy of abusing someone's kids, they are at best oxygen thieves.
Yeah.
But the abuse he's got is shocking, and I'm very happy for him that he got the goal. He didn't silence the critics though. He still,
Well, as a spokesperson for the Alvaro Morata's critics club, Ros, can you tell us why he hasn't?
He scored one goal. I'm sorry, but how the most astonishing thing that's happened this Euros, Spain have scored 5 goals back to back, and they have been one of the worst finishing sides that I've ever seen at Euros ever. They scored 10 goals in 2 games. And like in both games, they missed absolute howlers, like shockers. Like, how has this happened? It's because they were playing against 2 sides like Croatia and Slovakia that just forgot how to defend. Like,
Can we not just?
But it was a good Morata goal, yeah.
Can we not, applaud Spain for creating so many chances?
No, because you need to finish them.
No, just a flat no.
You need to finish your chances if you're going to create them.
Oh,
Don't worry about having the ball, playing tiki-taka, passing it around or whatever. Like, it's only one stat that matters.
Yeah, and well,
they have won 5-0 2 games. They scored 5 2 games in a row, but only because they'll get found out. If France can get found out by Switzerland, then Spain will get found out against Switzerland, isn't it?
Sorry,
Switzerland. They've got Switzerland in the next round, haven't they?
Spain have, yeah.
Yeah.
You think they'll get found out against Switzerland?
Yeah.
Okay, you heard it here first, folks. Switzerland are going to beat Spain in the quarterfinals of the Euros. What did you make of the old head in Spain's team? Ran the game yesterday, got player of the match, Sergio Busquets.
Yeah, it's good someone should sign him up. Yeah, I felt sorry for Pedri. I felt very sorry for Pedri in that he was in both teams were sort of playing a midfield 3. And he's 18, and he was next to Busquets and Koke. And the other team he had Brozovic, Kovacic, and Modric. Just like a little 18-year-old, almost like all these old men. He must have felt like the kid that gets brought along to like the pub with the dad or something. Just like all old men. Just.
He held his own though in there, didn't he, Pedri? But
that's fire.
Busquets playing next to Busquets isn't going to do him any harm. He does it at club level for Barcelona. Great performance from Busquets.
Brilliant.
Deserved man of the match. Yeah. So Oyarzabal seals the deal, makes it 5-3 late on in extra time. Oyarzabal could have had a second goal as well, but he decided to pass when in a great shooting position. He decided to pass it instead. What was that all about?
It's as if finishing isn't Spaniards' strong point.
Yeah, I mean they're the top scorers in the tournament, Ros. So whatever you say, really, their finishing is good.
Doesn't mean anything.
It does.
Doesn't mean anything. Anyone that watched the games, like Slovakia, like Dubravka is the best finisher for Spain in this tournament.
I don't know. They have 11 goals, mate. Italy, Denmark
and about
have 9.
10 different goal scorers, and of those 10 or whatever, they've all missed absolute shockers. When you're relying on Cesar, Dave, Azpilicueta to get in the box and actually score a header. Just saying.
Okay, fair enough. Right, we'll leave Spain, Croatia there. Spain are through to the quarterfinals to play the winners of the France-Switzerland game, who were Switzerland. It was 3-3, went to extra time. Switzerland somehow did it on pens. Granit Xhaka, man of the match, player of the match, led his stroppy, feisty team to victory against an under par France team, who sort of only really played for about half an hour of the game, in my opinion, and that was between the 45th and 75th minutes, which is when they scored their 3 goals. To be fair, they turned it on for half an hour, basically, didn't they, Ros?
Yeah, I mean, it's like sort of, they only played for half an hour, but when they played, I mean, just that little spell. I mean, Lloris saved a penalty. The Benzema goal was first, wasn't it?
Yeah. I'll tell you what, actually, Roz, I'll give you a quick wrap, and we'll come to that point.
Give him
So,
a wrap, because I could utilise over this
a
game.
wrap. Okay, can you give me a beat? Give me a beat. I'm gonna do a quick wrap. No, I'm joking. No one needs to hear that. 15th minute, Haris Seferovic scores an absolutely beautiful header. For all of France's play in the first 15 minutes, they were knocking it about, trying to be quite intricate, and Switzerland undid them with a simple cross and a header. And it was a perfect centre forwards header. Wins the battle with the defender, gets up, hits it into the bottom corner, near post, beautiful. Gets to half time, stays 1-0 Switzerland. France come out second half, obviously riled up, bit too riled up. They give away a pen to Switzerland in the 55th minute, 10 minutes into the second half. Kevin Rodriguez steps up to take it. A strange one for me. I mean, Seferovic and then Bolo looked on fire. I know Rodriguez is a penalty taker, but still, it's kind of, yeah, I don't know. And we know like Lloris hasn't got an amazing penalty record. And I thought it was a poor penalty. Lloris guesses the right way, saves the pen. And within 2 minutes, 2 minutes and 19 seconds it was, Benzema had the ball in the net at the other end.
So for the penalty, I mean, it was good height, but I thought this about a lot of the penalties in the shootout when it actually went. You could kind of tell from the way they were angled, definitely with the Mbappe one. You could kind of tell from their run what way they were going to go, and I think a few of them made it very obvious. And Rodriguez certainly did that, but really good height for Lloris as well. Rodriguez did used to take them from Milan when he was there. He's been taking them for a few years, but I agree with you. I think Bolo was electric. I think that. I mean, Ali McCoist was, absolutely dismayed that none of the strikers wanted to actually take a penalty.
Yeah.
Actually got to that point.
Yeah.
But anyway, the first Benzema goal, one of the best goals you'll ever see. Unreal. It was like Peter Crouch on FIFA Street. Like, just sort of... the ball's sort of behind him. It was compared, I think Michael Owen compared it to that Bergkamp goal. It's not quite as magical as that, but the similarities is that Robert Perez actually played that ball a bit behind Dennis Bergkamp, and he had to improvise. It wasn't the best pass in the world, and he had to kind of improvise in the moment and create a bit of magic. And Benzema certainly did that. Sort of Mbappe plays the ball just behind him, not quite perfect. Sort of drags his leg back, flicks it back round. I just go and watch it. Everyone would have seen it by now.
Yeah.
I can't do it justice.
And then under 2 minutes. Yeah, and then under 2 minutes after that one, I think 1 minute and 40 seconds, something like that. Benzema's got the ball in the back of the net again, and it's 2-1 to France. The game is turned on its head. And then
in the build up to that goal,
go on.
Mbappe sort of does a lovely little back heel to Griezmann, who tries to chip it. It was literally like France sort of saved that penalty and then went, should we play? Yeah, okay. And then literally just did an absolute world of a goal, and then sort of champagne football just absolutely terrorised them. Benzema eventually got the header being in the right place at the right time. But
yeah, and then 15 minutes later, Pogba, absolute worldie. Just no run up, no backlift, just spanks one in the top corner, and then just stands still.
Yeah.
And then he starts doing all these kind of TikTok celebrations or whatever, so he goes viral. Whatever his social media managers told him to do that day, presumably.
Was it shortly after that he had that pass? Remember that? Oh, there were two passes.
Oh, he played some amazing passes yesterday.
What was the sort of one? It was sort of like a volley pass, and it was just a sort of...
Yeah, down the left wing.
It was unreal. I think it was for Kingsley Coman, but I thought it was very lively when he came on.
It's the pass that that injured Kingsley Coman, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, it literally was.
Yeah. Pogba, very, very unlucky to not come out as man of the match. He ran Granit Xhaka very close, but Xhaka was outstanding, wasn't he? I mean, when we talk about Switzerland's comeback, Seferovic getting the 81st minute goal and Babu's cross, Seferovic another header. He was disappointed to be taken off eventually, but then Gavranovic last minute, Xhaka's pass into Gavranovic. I mean, you want to talk about slide rule passes. Xhaka took out France's midfield and most of their defence with that one pass, and it was straight through the middle. It was unbelievable.
There was the patience that actually led to that pass. It was the fact that he didn't kind of just, I think it was like the last 12 seconds of normal time.
Mm.
And he sort of, he could have played, not quite yet, and then just waited for the right moment, and then unreal pass. He was amazing all game. He's definitely getting my man of the match day, Granit
Yeah.
Xhaka. I think this summer he could move to a big club.
Gavranovic as well, when he receives the ball, rather than be rash, it's kind of like in that moment he decides to take a touch, puts Kimpembe on the floor, and then scores with a half volley from the edge of the area in a very central position. I can't tell you, as a striker myself, as Clive Tilsley would say, I've never played a game that mattered. But do you know what I mean? Like, I've played some games that matter a little bit, like like regional cup final or whatever. But to score, just even that technique itself is hard. To find the bottom corner there is insane, and with the pressure on him at that point, what a fantastic finish, and sends it to extra time. And you just think the momentum is with Switzerland at that point.
Yeah, I also just like to say that Lloris's positioning wasn't off. To actually find that corner, again, like I say, it was like weirdly central. But I don't think you could blame Lloris for that going in.
Is this
you could probably blame Kimpembe for?
Is that another kind of bit of feedback from your goalkeepers union WhatsApp chat?
Yeah.
I can't believe your five-a-side team has so many keepers. You're lucky. Like, usually it's like everyone takes turns.
That's translated to an indoor kickabout, so I think there are 3 very decent goalkeepers.
3 keepers.
You should have watched the Champions League final, Real Madrid Liverpool with us. Where Carriers 3 howlers. No, but start to finish, but also you could blame Kimpembe for getting put on his arse, maybe. A bit too easy for such a high-level defender. But more so, actually, Paul Pogba. And never going on about this, or particularly Gary Neville was. He's world-class all game, and then gets caught on the ball in a stupid position, goes down a bit too easy, and led to that goal.
Yes, so then it goes to extra time, and I mean, it was very entertaining, end-to-end stuff. Ends up staying 3-3, and then the penalty shootout. I said to you on the Euros Daily WhatsApp, I said to you and Mus, I reckon Pogba and Mbappe will miss. Pogba put it away, and Mbappe missed. I felt like it was that kind of situation where Pogba might do something a bit silly, and Mbappe just hadn't looked himself. So I just thought, if they're the big ones that people are relying on, can they handle the pressure? And it turned out Mbappe was the defining penalty missed.
So I think Pogba's, it was one of the best penalties I've ever seen him take, because he sort of did that. He's sort of synonymous for that really annoying long run up. Could be here all night. And he sort of sprinted to it, then started to do it a bit, and then just absolutely belted it into the top corner. Fantastic. All the penalties, to be fair, I thought were very, very good. We didn't talk about Mbappe's miss, which was just before, which is an extra time where he got put through. This is my stat of the day. He had 14 shots yesterday. Was it 14?
What,
I've got my
Mbappe?
today.
On his own?
Mbappe, I've written Mbappe 14. What was that? 14 shots, that's it. He had 14 shots all tournament.
Yeah.
Without a goal, which is the most in Euro 2020.
Wow.
And it's weird because if he had good touches all tournament and he had sort of good spells, but that shot at the end where he sort of gets put through perfectly from Paul Pogba, sort of doesn't really take it on his left or right, and then decides too late to kind of try and belt it with his left and goes well wide. Wide.
Something of note as well. So I don't know if you noticed this, but between the 2 teams, there was all of the French players, all but one maybe, when the whistle was blown to take the penalty, they waited for a few seconds. And it was kind of their method of penalty taking. All of the Swiss players, they took their run up and they kind of didn't decide which way they were going until Lloris moved. So it's almost like Switzerland had studied for the eventuality of penalties that Lloris goes early. So wait for him to go and we'll shoot. Whereas the French kind of method of penalty taking was kind of like a psych out thing. Like, when the whistle blows, wait for 3 seconds, then do your thing.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen from his time at Newcastle, Fabian Schär is a very classy centre half. He was probably my favourite. It was literally just sort of after you. Okay, I'll put it
Yeah.
that way. But yeah, some really classy penalties. I think all three of their centre halves, Elvedi, Akanji, and Fabian Ger, all took penalties. It's weird because I've seen analysis on penalties where they do the seconds, they count the seconds that it takes by the time they put the ball down and shoot it in. I've seen the opposite analysis. So they were talking about Mbappe yesterday, and they were saying, "Oh well, Paul Popper actually waited 7 seconds longer than him and just kind of settled his nerves, kind of thing." I've literally seen analysis, probably on ITV as well, where they've gone, the longer you wait, the more it kind of plays on your mind. And actually, if you delay someone from taking a penalty, then they've got more time to think about it, change their mind, and all that. So you're better taking it quickly. I think it's kind of whatever works for you, but. You know, if you miss a penalty in a penalty shootout, everyone's going to be talking about you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is. Mbappe's, it wasn't the worst penalty in the world. God knows England have taken worse in the past. But
yeah,
so I'm not talking about that today. Not talking about
that. Mbappe will be able to recover from that, won't he?
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. He's world class. Like I say, he didn't score in the tournament. His finishing was poor. I think everyone's finishing's been not brilliant this tournament. His touches. Do you remember the back heel against was it Hungary? He's just gone in these little darting dribbles, like really quick feet. You can tell. You know, I don't think he had as bad a tournament as everyone was saying. It's just that he hasn't scored any goals and he missed the penalty that knocked them out. Which does sound pretty bad.
Yeah, and there goes my 50p bet on Benzema being top scorer as well. Now he's out. Interesting one. You know, Xhaka got man of the match, or player of the match, sorry. Out throughout the tournament, I was looking at the list of all of the player of the match results. There are 2 players that have 2 player of the matches under their belt, which makes me think it's, you know, unless someone else comes out of nowhere, they're the 2 candidates potentially for player of the tournament, right? Because surely they'll judge it by how many player of the matches you have, or what? I don't know.
Player of the tournament's always the winner, though, isn't it?
Well,
or at least finalist.
Right. I want you to have a guess at who these 2 players are. I'll give you the countries, and you're going to tell me the players. Okay. So I'll give you the easy one first. Who's had 2 player of the match awards so far this tournament for Belgium?
That'd be Kevin De Bruyne.
No.
Romelu Lukaku.
Lukaku. Yeah. Okay. Right. That was the easy one. Now for the hard one.
No.
Who's had 2 man of the match player of the match performances so far for Italy?
Not Locatelli.
I don't want to know who it isn't, Roz. I want to know who it is.
I would go for one of the fullbacks, or
that would be a good.
No, you know what? Jorginho, who's had a outstanding tournament.
No, it was Spinazzola. You should have gone for one of the fullbacks. Yeah, Spinazzola, two player of the match awards, and Lukaku, 2 player of the match awards. There you go. Tell your mates that one down the pub later. Right. So let's just confirm then. Spain beating Croatia 5-3 in extra time. Switzerland knocking out France on penalties. Those 2 teams will now face each other in the quarter-finals of Euro 2020. Wow, this is so exciting. I mean, what a tournament this is turning out to be, hey? We're going to look into now today's games. Before we do that, I want to confirm your Dick of the Day and Man of the Match Day. So Dick of the Day, Vedran Chorluka for the Croatia defensive coach, and Man of the Match Day, Granit Xhaka. By the way, look, I'm not saying I'm great at predicting or anything. Well, I am, in a way. But I also said that Xhaka would get a yellow card yesterday. Now, you might say that is a safe prediction to make.
Hold on. I predicted that Germany would finish bottom of the group with Hungary in it, and that came reasonably close.
It didn't happen.
Minutes away from that. Now, that's a prediction.
It is.
Granit Xhaka getting a yellow card is not a prediction.
It's a bad prediction. A good prediction is one that comes that what you say actually happens, Roz.
Yeah, but you're not actually sticking your neck out going, I think this player was famously ill-disciplined and might get a yellow card against a very tricky French midfield.
5-0, you said. 5-0 to France. You also said cricket score. These are the words you said yesterday. You know, I'm not...
Yeah. I wouldn't bring it up, though, because I've been famously, on this pod famously, very pro-England and very, very confident about this game today all week. So it doesn't bode well, does it?
No, it doesn't. Right. Talking of today, there's two games to look at. England play at 5. England play Germany at 5. But at 8 o'clock, it's Sweden against the Ukraine. We'll have a quick bit of chat about that one, and then we'll move on to the headline show, which is England Germany. So Sweden Ukraine. It's the battle of the first battle will be won by the toss of a coin, I guess. I mean, well, Sweden are the home team, so you'd hope they'd be in their yellow with blue trim. But Ukraine will be disheartened by the fact that that is their kit as well. Will there be any confusion in this game? Sorry to trivialise, two nations competing in their national sports, but
You've got plenty of Premier League talent to choose from. You've got two sides that have done reasonably well. Well, they've clearly done reasonably well this tournament to actually get to this stage. You've got the Scandinavian Burnley to talk about.
the Scandinavian
And you realise
Burnley.
it to a matter of kits. I mean,
I just thought it was an interesting opening. It's an interesting opening gambit, isn't it? For maybe someone who's watching this who doesn't really know loads about football. I mean, it's a nice little soft introduction to the battle of the yellow with blue trim. I mean, on a serious note though, let's get down. Roz, I'm going to say it. Let's talk ball. Right, Sweden Ukraine, head to head. Sweden have won 1. Ukraine have won 2. There's been 1 draw the 4 times they've met. So Ukraine, winning that head-to-head record. The match is at 8 o'clock on BBC, and it's from Scotland, Hampden Park in Glasgow. And Italian referee Daniele Ossato will take control of the game. What has impressed you about Sweden, Ross, so far?
Their organisation, their lack of ego. They've got some big players at big clubs, but their lack of ego, being happy to not have the ball and just be a sort of well-regimented 4-4-2, which I absolutely love, being the old-fashioned I'll get that I am. But yeah, just a well-drilled defence. Been impressed with Alexander Isak.
Yeah, he's a player.
Very impressed. You've kind of told me about him for a while from his Sociedad days.
Yeah.
But he's having a good tournament. Emil Forsberg, that's graceful on the ball, had 2 goals in 2 games. There's lots to like about Sweden, the Swedish side. I think they've got the old Harry Redknapp methodology of having, I think, 2 magic players. So an Adel Taarabt or a player like that, two magic players, and then 9 absolute workhorses.
Who are their magic players then? Isak and Forsberg, or?
I would say so, yeah.
And what about Kulusevski then? Who do you liken Kulusevski to? Because he's a hard-working. Is he kind of like a?
He's quite tricksy. He's surprisingly tricksy.
Is he a little bit Stelios Giannakopoulos, a la Bolton, early 2000s under Big Sam? He gives me that vibe. He's very hard-working, but he is technically a very good player as well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%. And he's definitely one for the future as well. I think he's 21. Seen him, I mean, he's been playing in a 4-4-2 for most of the season, because surprisingly, Andrea Pirlo's side, with all that talent, have been deploying a 4-4-2, which just seems bizarre. But yeah, no, it's definitely one for the future. Isak's young as well. Forsberg, you probably say, is in the sort of peak of his career at the moment. He's 26, 27, I think.
Also worth mentioning Seb Larsson.
Seb Larsson, who's 57.
One of only 4 players in the Sweden squad to play every minute for Sweden. The others being Lindelof, Danielsson, and the goalkeeper Olsen. They're the only 4 players who have played every minute for Sweden.
Seb Larsson?
Yeah, Seb Larsson.
Okay, I know I was joking. How old actually is Seb Larsson? He must be 37.
Well, you think I'm some sort of font of knowledge, don't you? You ask me these questions.
That's fine. I can look up.
He's 36. He's 36. I know he's 30. Yeah. Same age as one of us.
What a guy.
So we've talked about Sweden. What about Ukraine? What do you like about Ukraine going into this game? What have you seen from them in this tournament that gives them a chance?
I mean, this will give away my prediction, because not anywhere near as much as I like about the Swedish. I like that Shevchenko, unlike the Portuguese manager, has found a way to get the best out of his best players.
Oh, right, yeah.
So actually, Yarmolenko just looks like like the side's very much built. He's definitely getting the best out of him. The likes of Zinchenko. I like a big man up top. It'll be it might be a good game. This will be the game where everyone's like absolutely wankered after
Well,
England.
They'll either be
Germany.
Either every England fan will be watching it, or no England fan will be watching it.
No, it'll be either no England fan will be watching it or no England fan will be watching it. Because if we win, everyone's just going to be flat out smashed.
I don't know.
And if we lose, everyone's just going to be sort of morbid and.
I love how you're just like.
How are Ukraine and Sweden still in the tournament and we're not?
Oh yeah, the entitled English comes out in us. 2 goal scorers for them in the tournament so far. They've scored 4 altogether. 2 from Yaremchuk, 2 from Yarmolenko, and one of those Yarmolenko goals is contender for goal of the tournament, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, like, in fairness, I think in terms of sort of curling screamers, Pogba kind of told him to pipe down a bit. The one thing I am most grateful for in yesterday's game, in the France one, is that I won't be watching the shit goal quite as much against Scotland, because there were some very good contenders for goal of the tournament in that one.
Yeah, Shevchenko said in his press conference that Zubkov hasn't recovered from injury and he'll miss the game, so that is a bit of a miss for them. I don't think it's going to be that ridiculous. Ukraine captain Pyatov is celebrating his 37th birthday yesterday, so a lot of old heads on the pitch, experienced players.
Him and Seb Larson can go out for a Bovril or something.
Go out for a Bovril. I love it. Okay, right. So, going to push you down. Prediction. I want scoreline. Man of the match.
2-1 Sweden with. Let's go for Emil Forsberg. 2-2. He's going to make it 3-3.
Okay, interesting. So 2-1 Sweden, Emil Forsberg to be man of the match. Okay, right. Let's take a little breather, Roz. It's time to talk. England, Germany at Wembley, 5 o'clock today. It's on BBC. People will be watching it up and down the country. People have booked afternoons off work. They've booked days off work. Now, where to start here? There's a lot of history attached to this game. I mean, let's get straight into the match itself. Let's go present day. Everyone knows the history, don't they? Everyone knows 1966, 1996. Everyone knows about the 5-1. Everyone knows about Lampard's goal that wasn't given in 2006, 2, 6, 10. It all rolls into one. Everyone knows that Germany are amazing at penalties. England are rubbish at penalties. Right.
1990 as well.
Yeah, 1990.
That was 1990. Italia 90.
Italia 90, yes.
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting about this is this morning, as we've grown accustomed to with this tournament, is the England team has somehow been kind of leaked from the camp. It's almost like everyone knows what the team is already. All the papers have got it as a 3-4-3. Pickford in goal, Maguire, Stones and Walker as the back three. Shaw and Trippier as wing backs with Rice and Phillips in midfield. Then Kane with Sterling and Foden or Saka. So Saka might have done enough to get in to the squad. Germany apparently lining up Neuer in goal. A similar system. Rudiger, Hummels and Ginter. So Ginter playing that sort of Kyle Walker role. Kimmich on right wing back duty. Gosens on left wing back. Goretzka and Kroos in the middle. Up front, Muller, Havertz and Gnabry. I mean, it does sound like that. Doesn't sound like a weak Germany lineup to me. And people are kind of hopeful about England and saying that I think this is a close game, and I'm worried. Give me some inspiration for England. Give me liven me up. Give me some confidence.
Okay, so I'm going to focus on that sort of right back position of the field for Germany. Okay, you've got Hummels in the centre, you've got Ginter next to him, and you've got Joshua Kimmich, who has played right back for Bayern quite a lot in his career.
Yeah.
and he's played central midfield quite a lot in his career. And I think Joachim Löw is trying to get the best out of him in that he's a reliable pet to have on that side, but also getting the most out of his creativity, his passing ability, which is first rate. You take those 3 players, Kimmich, going back into, and then across to Hummels. I am faster than the 3 of those players combined. These sort of leaked lineups, I mean, they got it right in the first game, didn't they? I don't understand how they're getting their kind of hands on it. I also don't understand the Foden or Saka thing. Is that just being left to the day, but what kind of a leak is that?
So
a massive leak. Well, I'll tell you what, it's definitely going to be Shaw or Chilwell or Trippier on the left. It's definitely going to be.
No, really I mean the leak tends to come from agents. So agents want to know from players, from their players if they're playing, and then somehow it is.
They are just the worst thing about football, aren't they? Agents? They really are.
Well, I mean that's just my theory. That is just my theory, Roz. Okay, it's just my educated opinion.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I if it's that, then I'll fully support it. I think that. Do you remember the Spain game? What was it, a year or 2 ago? I think it was Nations League. I might be wrong about that. It was where we went 3-0 up against Spain, finished 3-2, but we absolutely destroyed them on the break. I think Sterling got 2 goals, Rashford got 1, if I remember correctly. Jordan Pickford was superb, and for all anyone wants to say about Jordan Pickford, the reason the guy's in the side is because he's one of the best distributors of the ball in the world. I fully believe that. Probably one of the worst catches in the world, but we won't talk about that. It's all about positivity. I think that lack of pace on that right-hand German side is the way to go. I think we've got the best players in our squad are the pacey, getting in behind the defence, cutting inside, and finishing it players. You're kind of forwards, the one you wouldn't call strikers, you wouldn't call wingers, players like Rashford.
Roz, interestingly,
how will beat them.
Yeah, I mean, interestingly, I've just while you were mentioning that game against Spain, I've just looked up the lineup from that game.
Yeah,
you were completely right, obviously, about the goal. We went into 3-0 lead. Sterling got 2, Rashford got 1. The lineup was this, right? Pickford in goal.
Yeah.
Trippier, Maguire, Gomez, Chilwell.
Yeah.
2 holding mids, Dyer and Winks. 3 mids actually, Barkley as well. Then Sterling, Rashford, and Kane up top. So, do you think, this England lineup today isn't too dissimilar from that? Pickford, Trippier, Maguire, Sterling, Rashford, Kane. Chilwell probably won't play, but 6 of those players.
I think it's that we're trying to match them, and I think people have been saying this all week. This is the likely formation he's going to go for. We've done it a lot in qualifying, but also that Southgate has been pragmatic in all of the games, and it's done us well so far because the Czech Republic were a lot better than people gave them credit for. Croatia gave. Well, actually, no, I think they were pretty poor. But the Scotland game was derby. We haven't conceded a goal yet, so maybe pragmatic is the best way to go. But I really think we can hurt the Germans. I really think we can get at them. It's one of those things where Phil Foden was saying this week, and the England squad have been saying it for a long time. We make our own history. When Eric Dyer scored that penalty, we make our own history. Most of these players weren't even alive in 1996. All this kind of, it's the Germans. It's not the Germans. It's Matt Hummels, who's, left by, and now he's back at Dortmund, and he's got no pace left. He can be got at. You've got Joshua Kimmich, world-class player, playing out of position. I
don't know. I mean, I get what you're saying about the "It's Germany" tag. Someone said to me yesterday that they don't like this excuse that they don't. These players are saying, "Oh, I wasn't even born then. I don't know. It doesn't matter to me." But to me, I think that's a good kind of psychological tool to have, is to say I wasn't born then. It protects me from that psychological downfall of knowing what happened in '96, and stuff like that. So I think it really helps.
What impact is it going to have if you're playing someone else in a white shirt or whatever, who speaks in a German accent? But why does Gaza and his tears? Why does Gaza's miss in 1996? Why does any of that matter? Why does it matter?
Well, it doesn't. It matters to the
They're not the
fans,
same
Roz.
players. I get that it's a historical thing and they might feel like they have the edge, but all that Gareth Southgate's been doing since he's been manager is creating a good, positive atmosphere around the squad and saying, boys, you make your own history. Enough of this penalty, losing on penalties every time. Why can't we win a penalty shootout? Oh, we just did against Colombia. Make your own history.
Yeah, and interesting one for you is the stage set for Kieran Trippier today. The last person to score a free kick at a tournament was Kieran Trippier, semi-final against Croatia in 2018. So if he starts tonight, which people are saying he will, that's the general consensus. I mean, wouldn't that be fantastic? Trippier, free kick. It's funny, we've got lots of creative talent on the pitch, lots of set piece takers, but we kind of struggled a little bit set pieces wise, and having Trippier on the pitch will improve our chances there, won't it?
Definitely. I also think actually, set pieces, he's first rate. Probably without James Ward-Prowse being in the squad, I would say, should be our go-to set piece specialist. I think that if he does go for that back five and has Kyle Walker in there, Gosens likes to get forward a hell of a lot. Similar to, I guess, that kind of Scottish left-hand side. But if Kyle Walker can kind of handle him as our most sort of experienced player, I saw that laugh and like similar to that Scottish. In that, it's a big threat.
Yeah,
that you
can
manage. And Trippier's crossing ability, Trippier's early ball ability as well, and his head to kind of get back in position. It can hurt these guys. We've got more than enough talent. We shouldn't be going in as the underdogs. We should be pragmatic, sure, but we were doing that against the Czech Republic.
Yeah, I mean,
there are weaknesses in the side. They've played one good game this tournament. They were appalling against Hungary and they were appalling against France.
Okay, there you go. That is Roz's outlook. Roz, anything to look out for? Anything else other than what you've told us about Kimmich and the kind of lack of pace in the German defence? By the way, if you're watching, get in the comments and let us know your predictions for the game today. England against Germany at Wembley in the last 16 of Euro 2020. Will is in the comments. He says 2-1 England, Kane man of the match. I mean, that's something that a few people have been saying, a few people expecting Kane to show up. We talked about France just bubbling along through the group stage and turning up in the last 16. Deschamps even said himself, the team is geared up to start really going for it in the last 16. Maybe that's Southgate's opinion. Maybe that's Kane's opinion as well. Obviously we all hope to smash the Germans to pieces later. We hope for like a 4-0 England or something like that, but realistically, give us your predictions in the comments. And yeah, Roz, I'll come back to you now. Anything else to look out for you across the pitch?
So I think people are saying that just for the law of averages, that Kane is due a good game and he's due a few goals. I don't think it's the right game necessarily for that to happen. I think that despite criticising the lack of pace in the German back line, Rudiger's got a bit on that left-hand side. But then also, for their lack of pace, they make up for it with experience. Batsumel's, for me, probably one of the last sort of best world-class defenders that there was. Back to us, I don't think there are any world-class defenders anymore. But he's an old head. He's on that sort of world school, really good player. I think it was more about Harry Kane dragging them out again, or trying to, and getting in behind on the wing. So I think it'll be another game for Sterling, another game for Rashford if he comes on. It won't be a thrashing. We won't absolutely destroy them. I think that if he goes for Rice and Phillips, I would rather he went for a midfield three. But if he does that, you've just got to say to Phillips, you've got to say to Rice, yes, Toni Kroos, one of the best midfielders of all time, probably definitely one of the best of the last 20 years, if don't top 5. You're younger than him. You're fitter than him. Don't give him any time on the ball. Calvin Phillips showed against Croatia how much you can press, how high you can press, how much of a nightmare you can be, despite playing for some small town in Yorkshire, city, whatever. You're fitter, you're younger, you just win that battle. Just occupy them. Don't make the same mistake that Liverpool made against Real Madrid, where they just gave Kroos and Modric all the time on the ball and they absolutely tore them apart. Just get in their faces, you know.
What do you make of? We could look to France last night. We could look to how Switzerland dealt with Kante as maybe an example, because Switzerland sat so deep with Granit Xhaka sitting deep and picking passes, and that Kante found himself running further forward to try and affect the game, and Kante couldn't do that. So they kind of, rather than trying to chase Kante, they drew him out and drew the space in behind. Is that something we could do to Toni Kroos with the likes of Rice and Phillips?
Potentially. As Maurizio Sarri very well knows, Kante can't do that. He tried for long enough, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think it's all about. I think Gareth Southgate would have been prepped for a game like this. The fact is, we've used this system for a very long time. The English have been torn to shreds by sort of old wily midfielders for a very long time. Gareth's had a very long time to kind of think about how you would play against a side like this. How would you play against Toni Kroos?
Yeah.
So whatever he does, so I would do the kind of get in the face thing. We saw Calvin Phillips kind of pressing high, or that's what I would do personally. But
yeah,
Gareth Southgate's a better football manager than I am. So,
Gundogan and Rudiger did report back in for full training. They expect Rudiger to start, but not Gundogan. Leon Goretzka ahead of Gundogan. Is that to provide some legs in the Germany midfield to try and combat the Phillips and Rice thing?
Yeah, you know what? Sounds ridiculous, but after the season he's had, I wouldn't have started Gundogan anyway. Generally in this German lineup, Goretzka's an absolute beast of a player. If you actually look at him, he's like scarily hench. He looks like he should be doing like a world's strongest man thing. But yeah, he's got the legs. He's fit. He's hard to knock off the ball, and he's got some skill in him as well. Like, yeah, Bayern Munich.
So he'll be maybe deployed to occupy Rice and/or Phillips, leaving Kroos to expose, to have the time on the ball, maybe to then look to play in Müller, Gnabry, and Havertz ahead. And I think I'd expect Müller, Gnabry, and Havertz to be a very dynamic and very interchangeable front three. They're going to ask a lot of England's defence, which is why you expect a back three from England. Maguire, Stones, and Walker, are they the right back three? Is it weird to not have Mings in there after what he's shown us? Even a Ben White might be more suited. What do you make of that as a matchup?
I wouldn't play a back three. Is the answer. The thing that scares me most about the Germans is Kai Havertz. Yes, he scored 2 goals. There's a reason he scored 2 goals. It's the fact that he kind of occupies that right-hand side, but then kind of drifts and is a very clever player and just ends up, he's one of those players that just ends up with these kind of simple goals, tap-ins, heading it into an empty net and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. He's a very intelligent player. And for me, if you play a 3-man midfield with a back 4, I think not only can the back 4, if you select the right ones, cope with that German threat, but you can also stick one of your midfielders on Kai Havertz, tell him to not go walk about. If you see him, that's your man. Stick a man on him, and then you nullify a lot about that German threat. If you press your wingers too high up, then you give Gosens and Kimmich a hell of a lot to think about. For me, if that's wrong, and he goes for a 4-3-3, I will be the happiest fan in the world. But
yeah, just looking at it, it does.
Kai Havertz does worry me. Kai Havertz does. I think when you're playing that front three, you've also got Thomas Müller in there, who's just the same, but about 10 years older and a bit more wily. Just ends up in those places. Very awkward-looking footballer. He doesn't look like a footballer at all, but he's an incredible player.
I think if you look at it man for man, say it is 3-4-3 for both. Both teams. You look at the man for man matchups as if they were all man marking each other. For example, your battles are Maguire against Ginter, Stones against Hummels. Sorry, what am I talking about?
You'd love to see it, wouldn't you?
Wait.
Harry, I think
I have got a
think you're
point.
less of a risk at the back, so just go up there and just stay there. Get
Right.
away. We'll play
Okay.
back four without you.
All right, I have got a point. I'm going to make it. Right, here we go. Maguire against Gnabry, Stones
Yeah.
against Havertz, Walker against Muller. Then you've got Shaw against Kimmich, Phillips against Kroos, Rice against Goretzka, Trippier against Gosens. Then you've got Sterling against Ginter, Kane against Hummels, and Foden or Saka against Rudiger. This is all obviously hearsay, the lineup. But if we're going with, this is the official lineup given to us by the Times, Simon Hart. I think, firstly, I worry about their front three against our back three, but the avenue I see us doing well from is the wing backs. It's Shaw on Kimmich and Ginter, and it's Foden or Saka on Gosens and a just back from injury Rudiger.
Yeah,
I think that's our strength.
I mean, we'll see about Rudiger. I think he's the. If they had three Rudigers at the back, I'd say we wouldn't get much for looking. I think he's had a very good year. Like I say, he's the only one a bit of pace. He's still hungry in his career. Matt Hummels has kind of been brought in. He's won it all. He's a bit like Whack 'em Love for me. Like I'd be more worried if they'd just joined and were like thirsty for kind of success. Yeah, I totally agree, but this is why I would go for that 4-3-3. I don't want to talk about the formation that we're likely to not play, but I agree that those wing back positions are ones we can expose them in. Joshua Kimmich kind of being, however high you go behind Joshua Kimmich, you're either taking away his creative threat, or you're exposing the fact that he's not tracking back. So that's only a good thing. And Gosens, who I don't think anyone had really heard of before this tournament, but I think the strengths that the English have in our squad are fast wingers who can time their runs and cut inside, and that for me is why I wouldn't kind of try and man mark them, because what will happen then, like you say, is that our back three will go up against their front three. You've got much probably cleverer attackers than our defence is clever. You can say what you like. I don't like Harry Maguire, but even John Stones isn't a player that's known for his defending ability.
Yeah.
The art of being a good sort of reliable defender who's switched on, doesn't have lapses in concentration.
Yeah.
Harry Maguire has many lapses in concentration. John Stones is known for lapses in concentration. They're known for their kind of bringing it out from the back, their ability to do that. Now, if you're playing against players that have incredibly clever movement, like Muller and Havertz, players that have beastly pace, like Serge Gnabry, that does worry me, yeah.
Yeah, well, you think that Kyle Walker, as we saw in 2018 a lot, known for his kind of recovery pace, and he did cover for those guys quite a lot in this system, and they were the back three, weren't they? Let's remember.
They were.
Roz, we've got to wrap it up, I'm afraid. I just will say that the Telegraph are going with exactly the same lineup as the Times, the 3-4-3 we've been discussing. The Independent or the I paper, they've gone for a 4-2-3-1 where Mount comes into a three-man attacking midfield and Trippier sits out. The only changes there. But they've all gone for the same Germany lineup.
I don't mean to wrap up, but there have been rumours coming out of the camp all week that Mason Mount is going to be left today. We know how much Gareth Southgate loves him and would play him if he could trust him. He's a very loyal manager. But also that they had their last day in isolation yesterday.
Yeah.
So it hasn't been training with the team all week, but there are rumours coming out of the camp that Gareth Southgate will leave the decision to include Mason Mount today. I mean, if he's going for that formation, then that sounds unlikely. But...
Yeah, well, let's see. We'll find out around 4:00 officially. We're going to finish today, though, with a quick game of who's had more caps. So, Roz, are you ready? So, from these predicted England lineups, I've got this picture in front of me.
I don't know. Sorry, Joe. You've got loads and loads of caps. I think I've only got a couple, like a Yankees one and a... you're going to win. You're going to win.
Roz, enough with the dad jokes, all right? Okay, here we go. Okay, let's kick off with a nice easy one. Who's had more caps for England? Luke Shaw or Declan Rice?
Oh. That's not easy. Because Luke Shaw was out of the Luke Shaw?
No, it's Declan Rice. Luke Shaw's only had 12 caps. Declan Rice has
Really?
had 20. Yeah, there you go. Stitching you right up. Yeah, okay. Who's had more caps? Who should we go for here? Who's had more caps then? Jordan Pickford or Harry Maguire?
Tweedledee or Tweedledum. Let's go for bloody hard. Jordan Pickford.
No, it's Harry Maguire's had 33. Pickford's only had 32. These are really tight. They're really harsh. Okay, who's had more caps? John Stones or Kieran Trippier?
That's hard as well. I'm gonna go for John Stones just.
John Stones by a mile, mate. He's had 45. Kieran Trippier's only had 29. There you go. Okay.
So even when I get them right, I'm getting it wrong on my logic work.
Okay, let's do a couple of Germany ones. Toni Kroos or Manuel Neuer?
Manuel Neuer.
Incorrect. Toni Kroos has had 105. Neuer's had 103. It's tough, isn't it? Okay. How about this one? Joshua Kimmich. That's the correct pronunciation, by the way. Joshua Kimmich or
Burn.
Joshua Kimmich.
Joshua Kimmich.
You're not on Cold Blow Lane anymore, mate. Joshua Kimmich. Right. What did I say? Yeah, Joshua Kimmich or Mats Hummels.
Mats Hummels.
Yeah, Mats Hummels has had 75. Kimmich has had 58. Serge Gnabry or Leon Goretzka?
They probably had about 10 between them. Let's go for Gnabry.
Gnabry's had 25. Goretzka's had 34.
Really?
Ooh, yeah. And we'll finish off with Kane or Walker. Harry Kane or Kyle Walker?
Kyle Walker.
Incorrect. I stitched you up. They've both had 57, so it was a draw. But well played, Roz. You did all right. What did you get? 2 out of 8 or something? Well done. Hopefully, England do better later when it comes to the inevitable penalty shootout and drama that will occur. Roz, thank you very much for joining me today on Euros Daily. It's been a long one. It's been a fun one. Title of your sex tape. See you later.